All right, thank you so much. The program here this morning on ITV, on independent television. So much for this period in our lives. So much for COVID-19, you may want to say. And a very big thank you to Blessing H there for that viewpoint report, trying to look at some challenges associated with accessing bank services this period. I was at the bank yesterday and I didn't like the crowd that I saw there. I don't know if bank authorities can transmit as possible to help the situation because the idea of gathering crowd, at the entrance of banks is really not encouraging at all. More also that the government of the day is really trying to let people accept social distancing or public distancing, you may want to call it, as a better alternative to the way we live our lives this period. So bank authorities, they should try as much as possible to make sure that they discourage people gathering at the entrance of their premises. It's really, really not good at all. And so many fallouts now, talking about the COVID-19 and also looking at the lockdown. It's good that the lockdown beginning to ease off for some states. We understand that some services have been added to essential services. Before now, it was only those that were involved in, like my kind of job, journalism. You need to go out and dish out information, and also those involved in giving health care that were made to go out. But now we understand that some persons, some civil servants in some cadre, have started going out. So it's a good one that the lockdown is beginning to ease off. But even as that may sound, we also need to look at our schools. For schools, we do not know when children are going to return back to classroom for learning. And it's a good one to know that most schools, in the country are really bracing up to the task to make sure that they carry their children, carry their students, their pupils along. And that gives rise to the recent developments that we are beginning to see in our education in the country. Talking about e-learning. And for some people, they say that is a far cry from the matter, because looking at Nigeria as a nation, we seem not to be there compared to other Western countries, whereby you can have guaranteed power almost 24 hours of the day. And talking about the internet gadgets, it's something that is free in almost all homes in most Western countries. In our country, in Nigeria, it's still a struggling situation. We're still struggling with power, and for some homes, most homes, they don't have internet-enabled, telephone. It may amaze you to know, but that is the truth. Well, to look at all this today and look at the lockdown and look at the e-learning among school children, we are so privileged to have two guests here. First and foremost, we have Pastor Felix Osawaname, who is the proprietor of Sigma International School in Ebotubu. You're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, viewer.
Of course, he's making his debut with me on this program. You're welcome. Thank you so much for finding time to make it on this program today.
Thank you very much.
And we have Mr. Peter Okumbawa, who is one of the coordinators of Test House Tutorials, known as Gorilla Brains, and one of the proprietors of Cavalry Crown Academy here in the city. Peter, welcome to this program this morning.
Mr. Evans, good morning. Viewers, good morning.
We are expecting Mrs. Grace Osakwe, who is not around. She called me yesterday to inform me that she's not around. So hopefully she should be able to call into this program via our Skype platform. So when we get her calling and when we get signals from her, we're going to put her live on the program so that she can also air her views on some of the issues we're going to be talking about here today. Gentlemen, welcome to the program this morning on ITV.
Thank you very much.
By the way, if you intend to join us on this platform through SMS, you can text your short SMS on 080-2464-5409. 080-2464-5409. Now, gentlemen, let's hit the discussion. We're looking at the lockdown amid the e-learning that we're having by various schools. Now, let's look at it. In Nigeria, is this the right move in the right direction as it stands now? Looking at the whole scenario talking about power, talking about the way parents respond to issues like this. I'll start with Pastor Felix Sauname.
Once again, good morning, viewer. It is saddening that I think 1.2 billion children all over the globe are at home due to the lockdown. And in the midst of that, you will agree with me that efforts are being made before now on the basis of how can we improve the educational system. And with that, I think there were kind of innovations that were coming in, which actually brought in the e-learning. And the e-learning, you will agree with me that is a complete learning online. And it brings, most times, parents, pupils, and student resources together where they share knowledge or whatever. Now, the lockdown actually, it was not something that we envisaged or we actually saw it coming forth, but it was a sudden and it took very many unaware. And now, what should we do? Are we going to allow the children to decay in their knowledge? Sorry if that word is not the right word.
You can go on.
Okay, or degenerate. The complete answer is no. And you will agree that when a child stays for too long, there is actually going to be a huge problem. Many are giving a second thought, e-learning. And to me, e-learning is something that is really commendable. On the basis of, we have to consider some certain things, like one, the model that will be adopted. And on that model, I think I will have to take my mind back to the devices. The devices now, we have to talk about the laptop, the smartphones, or even the iPads or wherever. While the second aspect, we have to also take our mind back to the internet. The internet now, we have to talk about the stability. We know our country, Nigeria, how we are enjoying electricity in quotes. Then if we cannot easily get access to electricity, there is going to be an issue to the e-learning.
Yeah.
Although many persons are actually coming with different kinds of model. I think of recent, I just got to know about this video demo.
It's an app.
Okay.
You know, one of those apps.
Okay. I also got to know about this Zoom. I don't know if you have heard of it. Also with this, I think Skype. So you discover that all these come together. There are certain things that are going to make these things work out.
Okay, let me pause you so that I can bring Peter Okumbowa here. Peter Okumbowa, we're looking at, trying to examine the functionality of e-learning. Of course, when we say e-learning, we're talking about online learning. Functionality within Nigeria as a nation. He just made mention of the non-availability of power. So how effective can e-learning really be, as we stand now?
Thank you, Evans. In the 70s, distance learning was an idea that many Nigerians and Africans appreciated because it enabled them to school while in Nigeria, exchanging parcels with universities or colleges abroad. That development had evolved to today what you know as e-learning, where in the era of the internet, there was no need to send parcels up and down no more. You could go on the internet and appreciate this learning program. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, Africa, and Nigeria in particular, much attention has not been given to the possibilities in the internet, the possibilities in ICT. A number of countries today get a huge amount of their GDP from the ICT. I have an authority that 85% of those who are running the ICT in countries like the United States are Indians. Indians who found something to sell to the world. What are we selling to the world? So countries have appreciated the internet over the years. What this COVID reality has done for the African continent is to expose our inefficiencies. We have never been on track. We've never appreciated it. This is with due consideration to the very few that have. But because it's not a national thing, they even have their limitations. So altogether, as a nation, as a continent, we've not built the ICT world. Now, with this reality as it is, given the reality of the implications of having people congested in an environment, the spreading, trying to curtail the community spread of this pandemic, it will be difficult for us to return back to the normal classrooms. Parents
Are you saying that we're never going to return back to the normal classroom?
We would, when it becomes certain that we could. As a matter of fact, this is something that touches everybody. You're a parent, Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
If your child's school resumes today and tells you to come to school, even when the government says you can go ahead and resume, as they're opening some sectors of the economy, they decide that because the children cannot just be without learning, let them go back to school. But each classroom will be of certain space distance, and the number of children sitting per seat will be limited to 2 or 1. You still will not be comfortable allowing your child go to school, because the reality today is that there is no known vaccine, there is no known cure for this. So when the child carelessly, and this COVID virus has lifespan chef on different materials. On a wood material, it has its lifespan. On a paper material, and on aluminium, it has its lifespan. So what if somebody who got it, kept it somewhere, for example, by touching a rail, and your child goes and touches that, all of these fears will be the reason you will not let your child go to school. That is to say that parents have no choice. This country have no choice. Even though we are not ready ab initio for the internet learning, for us to start it now. It's only a shame that our government did not invest hugely in this aspect of learning. We have schools today where the computer studies as a subject is still taught in its very primordial state of theories, showing them on pictures what a mouse looks like, showing them on pictures what a motherboard looks like, showing them on pictures what a monitor looks like. When, as of today, we should have advanced to software and robotic kind of learning, wherein the children themselves understands the principle that governs this thing they see, coding, as it were. It's simply that the country does not have a vision at the academic level. At the academic level, the Minister for Education should have marshaled out what they want Nigeria to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. And amongst them should have been, in Norway, they start coding in primary school, the one you call basic school here. They start coding already. You think this knowledge are far from these children? They will learn it if you present it to them. So for those who even want to do it, because everybody is not into it, they are having limitations along the line.
Okay, let me pause this so that I can come to Pastor Felix Sawaname. Now, there is no doubt that the recent development has, probably made parents and, caretakers, caregivers to know the difference between boys and men in terms of private schools in Benin City, because we know that some private schools have really started online teaching their pupils, their students at home, while some they are not even doing anything at all. So parents are really beginning to react to all this. For parents, they are even making up their mind that, oh, if this school is not doing this, then probably next term my child is not going to return to that school. But let's look at the efficacy of it all. Now, can this really stand for the normal situational classroom teaching that we are used to? Is it as effective as it is, Pastor Felix?
Thank you very much. Ati, I will want to try to counterbalance my point here. You see, of a truth, people are raising eyebrow. These schools are not living up to expectations. Yeah. These schools are doing better in this area. But I want to go in straight, sir. You discover that the e-learning actually is a method of teaching. Now, in the midst of that, let us look at some key subjects like physics, chemistry, mathematics that requires the children to go to the lab and carry out some practicals. How are they going to do that? And even while in the classroom, in the practical rooms, you discover that these children see it there raw, real. They even join the teachers to manipulate it, the skills, before they get acquainted with the skills. Now, when you look at it from that angle, are we saying, are we going to rely on it totally? Can we replace the normal classroom? The answer is no.
Yeah, the question I'm asking, can it be as effective as the normal classroom teaching? Because from the look of things now, it seems that for most people, I understand the fact that most parents, they are allowing it because, yeah, it's keeping the children busy, it's engaging the children. But the big question is, can it be as effective as the normal classroom situation, learning?
The answer is no, sir. Okay. The reason being that, I think, within this very state, our own state, I think there was a research that was carried out last week. And let me be, civil with my words. I don't have to mention name of schools now.
Yeah.
Now, the classroom was primary 5. 18 pupils were in that very class. And among the 18 pupils, their parents' contact were gotten. And they checked, it was 3 of the parents that was on WhatsApp. And that 3 parents, only one responded to the question. To the question.
Put on the WhatsApp.
Yes, we can go ahead, we are ready. Then if you take that, it's going to take 5.6%. Then where are we? You see that it's not replacing the totality of
the children.
Yes,
that ought to be carried out.
Yes, because we have to consider the vulnerables. We have to also consider the rich. So totally, sir, the answer is no.
All right, I'd like to differ at some level.
Okay.
Because let us put your questions into perspective and context here. The online learning is as effective as any learning could be.
Oh, really?
The challenge with it, however, is how the Nigeria people are now responding to it, saying that it's a new and a novel development for them. For countries of the world and schools even in Nigeria, areas like Lagos, Abuja, that have had these platforms over the years, the students have related with it and they could get along with it. The problem we're going to have with the online is going to be a problem that will phase itself out with time. As for what the pastor here mentioned about how they're going to conduct practical classes, we have what they call virtual laboratories already on the internet. As a matter of fact, some schools have been engaging the virtual lab already, where you don't have to have the conventional laboratory. You could have a virtual lab where acid, I read at, so I'm not really good with the terminologies, but if you want to do it based on acid test, you could simply just click on acid, the amount of acid you needed, click on the amount of base you needed. If you're putting them together to find a new solution, you will find it on the virtual lab. These things are already there. There is nothing on the real laboratory that cannot be replicated in the virtual laboratory. That is to tell you that countries of the world have invested hugely in the past in ICT. One of the most industrialized nations of the earth today is China. They do practically everything on the internet. Everything is computer based. The problem we have with it is not a contest that the online schooling will not be as effective as the normal class. In some cases, and in most cases, the online is even more effective than the conventional classroom. Reason being that the teacher teaching you in the conventional class may not be appealing to you in his or her level of explanation.
Okay.
You could find a better explanation
through the
online platform.
Okay.
The problem, like I said earlier, is we are not used to it.
Okay.
That is the challenge we're going to have with it. I have seen chemistry practicals conducted on a virtual lab, and there's no difference between it and the real laboratory.
Yeah, apart from not being used to it, let us also explore the availability and the affordability of online learning. I mean, most parents, most children, they don't have this gadget.
Mr. Evans, that is why I said we are not ready. The truth of the matter is that For the fact that we're not ready doesn't necessarily mean we cannot, in the face of this pandemic reality,
When you say we're not ready now, are you talking about we as a nation or parents at home?
Oh, it's not the parents, it's the nation. Like I said,
But
we
what
are
about
not.
the parents that won't probably allow their children to handle their gadgets?
Sir,
Just
there is something parents prize above everything else, which is the education of their children. It is the only avenue for them to live up to expectation and become better than them. There is no right-thinking parent who would not key into the online platform. The problem, however, is you have enumerated some of these challenges that they may have. One, if you look at the class of the vulnerables, the uneducated class, they don't even know how to manipulate a simple Android phone.
And we have it in large numbers.
Of course, those are the part of the challenges we will now be facing. Yes, of course, as parents.
Yeah.
Now, then, we also have another concern of the sustainability of the internet, wherein the internet in this part of the world is not as fast and quick as the one you have in other nations of the world. You also have another problem of economics. Some people cannot afford food in this lockdown.
Yeah, affordability.
Then the question, because the internet is not exactly free.
It's not cheap.
Even though they've increased the gigs they used to give, the MBs they used to give, the question is, it still is not at an economic vantage position for these people in the face of this lockdown. I would think that for the purpose of the internet school, the network service providing companies in this part of the world should, as a matter of conscience, break down the MBs so much that these children can remain on the platform and learn on the platform. You could be on the platform because you are afraid that this video, we know that video buffering consumes more in terms of data use than PDF or other audio. But when it comes, and the question is, if I run out of the internet, how do I get back on the internet? These are some of the concerns that parents will be faced with. However, we must continue because the coronavirus has revealed the inefficiency in our education system, particularly in our healthcare system. We must now begin to do something. We cannot stay at home and begin to wait for when this virus will disappear from the air, like many people now wish it would. But a concerted and a conscious effort is what will bring this era of coronavirus to an end so we can go back to our normal lives.
Okay. Now, Pastor Felix El-Saron, let's look at something that is quite similar to the online learning. It may not be connected to the internet, but somehow it's also within the same idea. Recently, we saw the Edo State government, sponsoring some TV stations, putting on topics, teachings, lessons on television platforms for students to learn. We also understand that the federal government about 2 weeks ago had to actually launch a program in Abuja encouraging state government to key into all this, whereby some radio stations were used as platforms. Now, all this, the big question we still ask, can they stand? Are they as effective as a normal classroom learning? Pastor Felix.
Thank you very much for that beautiful question. I think I thank the state governor for that very good idea. But there were some questions that some persons were actually asking. Now, that very program, some children were complaining that what they were being taught was below their knowledge.
Okay.
Was far below, that the people that actually came on board did not go in details. So then, can you call it a waste of resources as pertaining to getting the fuel to power your generator? Because at that particular time, some persons were complaining that there was no light. Some persons were also complaining that the level at which they were taking it was too high. And in education, there is this general principle from the simple to complex, from the known to the unknown. Yeah. They were complaining from there. So I actually commend the able governor in his own, idea, bringing such a particular thing. But I want to also come in by bringing that, you see, when we talk about online, there is something that we need to actually take note of. By the time you leave it just for the children alone, there could be some problem. So parents' attitude as pertaining to guidance is actually needed, whereby the parents are there. If the parents are there with the children cannot take it serious as if they are just in the normal class. But if the parents are not there, believe me, the children, some of them can even switch to game or whatever.
It's one thing for the parents to be there, it's another for the parents to actually even know. I mean, it has to take a knowledgeable parent to know whether the writing is even being taught.
I think that is even a point now.
You don't even know whether the child is actually learning.
Okay, sir.
You can be there.
Now you get my point now.
Not even knowledgeable about it.
Okay, you get my point. What about the parents that is not as educated to that SS3, SS2 level?
That's exactly my point.
Then, no, please hold on, Mr. Otunbowa.
Yeah.
Then, where are we? Are we now going to cut off the vulnerable totally? So, like how I've said before that, when we talk about e-learning, it should encompass both the vulnerables and the non-vulnerables.
All right, so how do we carry these vulnerables along? Back to your point now. That's the question, to you.
Okay, now, how do we carry them along? I think that question actually we have to kind of carry out some research. Are we going to inform them to get Android phone in the midst of this lockdown? So we tell you the finances is not there, or are we going to create a platform where like 2020 or 30 can come? So it's an issue that I think we need to actually discuss.
Okay, now I think you have something to
yes.
say. And in addition to that, how do we really carry the vulnerable along? Because that is a very big issue here.
Yes, I'm a practical person.
Okay.
I in as much as I may be enthused with an idea, I look at the backside or the backlash to that idea. I mentioned earlier that this is a new and novel aspect of learning.
Certainly.
And what it means is that we cannot get it right just automatically. It's going to be a process. Now, I'm glad people are raising questions about how to carry the vulnerables, particularly those in the rural area, along. And,
not even in the urban centers.
Yes.
Most of urban parents,
you classify all of them as vulnerables in this respect. The truth of the matter is that in every war, there will be casualties. This is a war. And if you wait for all persons to be equally equipped for this war, then we will never begin the fight against this development we now have. The truth of the matter is that even in a sane society, even before the pandemic situation, some parents are already behind in so many aspects of life. It is not, we cannot begin to adumbrate in a way and manner that all must be equal.
Yeah, we know. How do we breach that?
As that
now?
stands,
is it the responsibility of the government?
So long as
the responsibility of the children,
distancing,
the responsibility of the schools, or the responsibility of the parents themselves?
When it comes to this issue, sir, the government have very little or nothing to do. Just yesterday, the Rivers State government has maintained a complete lockdown in Port Harcourt. There's no movement at all. The reason is because that is their best move to curtailing this situation and development.
Yeah, when you say the government has little or nothing to do, we cited the non-availability of power as an issue.
Good, sir.
So if that is an issue, don't you think the government has a role to play?
Let me say this let's put it thus before all of us. Before the COVID, the power issue already existed. How quickly can government do something about that now? Like they kept energy reserves somewhere and can now deploy it. The reality of the day is that, like I said, even the government is not receiving revenues as it were. Okay. You can see the fall in the oil price is affecting a lot of things. The only thing we can make do with now, since we cannot physically engage these children or engage their parents anymore for the time being, is to actually key into the online learning. If government have seen this in their own wisdom and decided to put up a TV program to educate people back home, the only problem I see with that is accessibility to information and classroom, wherein it's a one station. When class is going on for KG1, what would those in nursery 2 be doing? What would those in nursery? Is there a way they can create a timetable effective enough to carry this poor along? And yet, this is the truth. Our lives will never be the same again. But if we were used to this ICT learnings from before now, we wouldn't have had a problem keying into it. Okay. As it stands today, we don't have a choice. We're just going to key into it. And along the line, there will be casualties. If this were a promotional exam, would have been worse for us. But don't forget, the promotional exam is just some months away. And the enrollment process had not begun before the COVID issue kicked in. The government has a lot to do when it comes to carrying people along in this respect. But even now as we speak, there will be parents who will just drop their children from school. If I cannot be part of the online learning, if I cannot be, because the exams they are going to write in the third term, if these issues don't clear out, it's still going to be an online exam. Or even if the government decides that it's not going to be online, let's be a physical exam, we maintain social distancing as far as the exam goes. There will be those parents who will never be comfortable allowing their children to go and write these exams. And there will be those parents who cannot even afford to take their children to such venues of exam, because in these kind of exams, particularly the basic school exam, the basic 5 exam, primary 6 exam rather, the exams collapse to a particular location, which may give room for, like I said, if we had invested in ICT before now, we won't have this problem. But as it stands now, let us start something.
All right. Now, I'm going to come to you. We have some messages here where, just like what I said 08024645409 is the number you can push your SMS to, so that you can also contribute on this program. Now, let me come to Felix. Now, you see, just some few years ago, the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Education, started introducing candidates in Nigeria into what's it now? The online examination, the ICT-based examination.
Yeah.
Failing to realize that we had a backlog of issues at hand. Most of these candidates, most of them, it was probably, their first time to even touch the computer set.
Yeah.
So all this lockdown and all these alternative means of getting the children involved, getting them busy at home by schools, is now bringing to bear one more time our problem in this country.
Okay.
So can we then now say that government probably is not proactive enough? That government takes, just 10 steps instead of taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps before the 10 steps that it takes. Will you want to,
yes,
accept that?
Yes, to some point. To some point. You see, like you indeed mentioned, I think there are a lot of problems as touching that very issues.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you have heard of some children complaining of how their computer just suddenly malfunction.
During the exam?
Yeah, during the exams. I don't know if you have heard of it.
Yeah.
Now, you must also agree with me that these children have been prepared at home. It was not the ICT that prepared them. That is the basic fact. And you will also agree with me to some point that this, what is it called, ICT, it is mainly useful or better, or what we mainly see now is always objective questions. The theories are mainly out of it to some point. So I think I would want to agree with you to some point.
Okay. And some people have also argued that it is the theory that actually carries that really examines one's knowledge.
Yes, it gives you opportunity to express yourself.
Yeah.
Not like the objective now. Some persons may not even have touched the topic before. They can just do what we mainly call momenta. Just pick any point that they wish to.
Yeah. All right, let's see some of the SMSs that we have. We have the number one more time. Please don't call. If you call, I cannot read the SMS, okay? 08024645409 for the SMS, so that we have your contributions here on the program. 08024645409. Well, we have this that says that Mr. Peter is extremely correct. That somebody is making kudos to you now. He says that e-learning is effective, and we also have another one that reads that let's see, it's I cannot pick the SMS if you call. So don't call, just send your SMS only. If you send your SMS, definitely I will have to take it. Don't call. Now we have another SMS that reads that my name is Chima from Benin City. How do we understand? That's the problem. Now people will just call and call and call, and they mess up the whole thing for you. Please, if you call, I cannot read the SMS. Now, gentlemen, okay, let me just go back to Chima's SMS. It said, all right. So I may have to stop this now. I may have to stop it. I don't know why people don't, comply to instruction and directives. That's the problem. That's why when the government says, please wash your hands and go out with your face mask, people won't obey. It's just like what we're having here now. I mean, I gave out this number so that you can send your SMS, not call. If you call, you mess up the program. I won't pick your call. You won't allow others to enjoy it, and of course, you won't learn. But if only you send your SMS, I will take your SMS. You will learn, and others will learn from it. Okay. Now, gentlemen, let me come to you guys one more time. Now, let's begin to look at another issue that seems to be emanating from all this. Now, we are trying to look at the sincerity of purpose behind all this, because for allegations going around and some beliefs going around that some private schools are probably just using this to, they are in business. There's no doubt that they are in business. Now, they are just probably using it to keep the parents at bay, to also make them to believe that we're at it, whereas they are far from the cry. I'll give that to you, Okumbawa.
The truth of the matter is that it will take a while for the parents the parents of these children to accept the new reality. Like I said, if we had a system before, it wouldn't have been new to them. What many of them understand as tuition is you're paying for conventional classrooms. And then again, in the face of this, to be human about it, I do not think any school is able to afford a learning portal or a learning system should charge what it charged as normal school fees.
Okay.
It will be wrong. And then again, the parents also have to put into perspective that the way some of these learning programs are designed, the classroom teacher the children have been used to will still be on the same platform teaching them. It means that they are still at work. And these teachers will also have to buy the internet bundle to access or to drop those videos or the PDF files or the audio messages that will be dropped there and to categorize them. So have a very robust learning portal is not really cheap to maintain. And then again, this may be why some tuition might be charged, probably in the form of tutorials to keep these children busy. And the parent system around must realize that they have to be part of the process. There's no longer a situation where your child is going to class alone, particularly the ones that are very, very young. You have to be with them to help them out with their classwork. Okay. For example, the preschool curriculum, for example, is essentially a playground. You have to be there to make sure your child is focused on it, because your child is not used to this system. You have to make sure that the lessons as they've been drawn up for the week, your child internalizes the values of those lessons that have been drawn up for the week. This challenge will now mean that, good enough, the parents are also at home. They have a role to play in this. And one of the reasons I said that going back to conventional classrooms in the midst of this is very difficult is because for children, there is nothing you're going to tell them. Put on your face mask, maintain social distance. For kids, come on, they will hardly listen. Children are used to playing. They're used to touching each other. In some cases, some children just jump from one seat to another. The difficulty in putting these children's erring behavior in check would mean that their health will be compromised if all things were to return back to normal. Okay. So until we return back to life, when we are not sure, and by the way, some persons have said that in the science world, that this virus will stalk mankind for a very long time.
That may not be correct.
It may not be, but in the face of the threats, caution now. It's better to err on the side of caution now.
Okay.
And so the system of online, it's new and novel. But I want to advise parents. This time I also want to appeal that government should become much more involved in it. I like the idea of what the state governor has done, partnering with MTN to bring bundle to an appreciable extent. But the online platform itself calls for a much more collaborative effort than the conventional teachers. Because the public school teachers have never been used to this. They themselves will have a challenge navigating the tides and the currents of the internet, or to teach. To teach on the internet comes with a lot of psychological, psychologically you have to be disposed. Yeah. Because no longer seeing the child to read the child's body language, to know if the child is following. You have to put into account that the child's body language is XYZ. Okay. And you have to be disposed psychologically to enable the least competent person to follow you.
Now, let me quickly pick some points like what my friend just said. at least to some point, is not really concerned about the vulnerables.
Okay.
I do believe, maybe, yeah, because
Yeah.
I do believe, maybe because it's in the city, let me use the word. No,
It's his opinion. Just
yeah,
like you
it's
have your
his
own
opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Do you believe that in the normal conventional schooling, there are some topics that will be taught? Some children may even find it difficult. As a teacher, you can say, okay, meet Osato to explain to you. I'm talking about pairs now. And Osato will explain it, and that child will get it better.
Understand, yeah.
Do you agree to that point?
Yeah.
Now, he also made mention of the mask. My children, whenever I put it on, they always wrote to me, Daddy, my nose mask. Daddy, my nose mask. I don't know if they have done that to you.
Maybe
So,
they're just using it for fun.
okay, now, but to some point, I think we have to got it for them, and you see them doing it just the way Daddy and Mommy is.
Okay.
They wear it.
Now, let's quickly take some SMS. At least I succeeded in rejecting all the calls, so you cannot call me anymore. You can only send your SMS to 080-24645409. Now, we are still expecting Mrs. Grace Osakwe via Skype. And once we get that connection, we'll just put her on set so that you can also see what she's saying about that. Now, let's look at this SMS. We have this one that reads that so many people don't have access to it. If a parent has 3 children in different classes, how will they cope with one? Computer or phone? That's an opinion by somebody. And the other person said that, let's look at it now. It says that my name is Evelyn Gabriel from Benin City. I really want to know if education can still commence this year, because we are already losing hope. Well, we shouldn't lose hope.
Even, sorry, sir, let me quickly attend to that.
Yeah.
Even, let's assume the COVID-19 is over by this month ending, we can still, on the long run, meet up with the totem work on the basis of we having July to August to September as a break. That period, summer period of childhood.
For Ministry of Education to decide. We'll leave that for Ministry of Education to decide. Now, we have this that says that I support TV learning. I support TV learning. You didn't put your name and you didn't tell me where you sent that SMS from. And of course, we have this one that reads that, good morning, the governor is trying better, is trying well, but the lesson given to us is confusing. They don't take a step by step, and they don't show us everything. That's talking about the Edo Best program that the state government flagged up the other day. And for most people, they are really not satisfied with that. Most people in the rural settings where they don't have power to even power their television set, so they probably did not watch it. And just like what this person said, persons have also really talked against that program, that it does not give you the opportunity to ask questions in areas that you don't understand, unlike the normal classroom situation whereby a teacher can actually attend to each child and there is room for asking questions that you don't understand. So in the light of all this, Peter Okumbowa, can we really say all these alternative ways of teaching our children this period, can they really be effective?
Well, first of all, I want to...
This is the second time I'm asking that question.
I want to react to what Professor Felix said before you came on board.
But don't react to my question. He has his own opinion to share, just like you have your own opinion.
Okay.
So react to my question.
I'm not... I'm speaking for all. I'm not segmenting whether vulnerable or not vulnerable. I'm a realist.
Yeah.
Now, to the question that was just raised by from the SMS, it depends on the platform that you are engaging the learning program. Of course, for a TV platform, it might pose some challenge. However, there's still a way to go about that. I'm talking now, working with what we have. Questions and answers. Questions can now come in the form of SMS to the TV. For those who are on TV, for the state government's effort to be complemented, questions can be added from text messages or WhatsApp. When the questions come, the questions will be circled by somebody who's handling the gadgets and brought to the attention of the person who's instructing. Although the person may not be able to answer all questions. That is where the online school management learning portal is a lot better, because there's a comment section where, as you're on that video feed, you can drop your question And if the admin is there live, he answers your question live and sends it back to you. The simplest part of this could even, question and answer, the simplest part of it could even take the form of WhatsApp, wherein questions can be written out in Biro and paper, snapped and sent, answered and sent. It's going to be like the normal system. Would it be like the normal system? No. Would it yield the results that is expected in the normal system? No. That's because we've not been used to it. My point here is, it is better late than never. We could start now, build, and amend along the line, than to wait to risk the life of children. I know the governor of this state will not allow school go back if he's not sure that it's safe for schools to go back. That's because the lives of the children will be at stake. So for us not to put the lives of children at stake because of this whole reality, we can perfect this from where we've seen it now. We can grow it from where we've seen it now. So my suggestion going forward to schools who are, or parents who have been considered vulnerable, or schools that have been considered vulnerable, is to deploy the least when it comes to engaging their students. There is a simple WhatsApp there. Would everybody be able to afford even the phone and gadget for WhatsApp? No. That's why I told you in a war, there are always victims. But that is the least you can do. And for online school management portal, there are classrooms inside, just like your normal classroom, though you don't get to sit down. You sit in your house. If you want to learn on basic 1, you want to learn from nursery 2, you click on the nursery 2 class. You'll see the feeds for nursery 2, because every video that is uploaded is following the state government's curriculum, or following best practice for teaching those children, as it were. For SSC classes, the curriculum is that you knew where you left off before this COVID reality. You can do a revision and continue from there. This is, if the child's heart comes on board this and accepts this, it's as simple as, how did these children even memorize the music they learn these days? By having it plugged on their ears every now and then. Some of these videos can become internalized in that way. All right, so what we are saying in effect is that we should start something, work at it, and see how it goes on. Whatever challenge presents itself, we'll get better as we go. It's better than doing nothing. Okay, now in the light of what you just said, do you have any reaction, any compliance or counter-reaction to what?
Like I've said before, that I'll be balancing my point.
Yeah.
The truth remains that in education setup, or naturally, there is always room for improvement.
Yeah.
You just assume a child came at 6th position in the classroom. You talk to the child, study your books, do your homework, attend regular classes. The child gets it better. Now, we, as a nation, Nigeria or Edo State, we can improve on it. It's a plus to the educational sector that majority of us are no longer ignorant of the e-learning now. Even those that are afraid of how to handle the gadget, many of them are beginning to think of how to work on it.
Yeah, but if you say that, you are going against your earlier points, because I appreciate the fact that you've been looking at the vulnerable.
Yes.
Now, if you say majority of us are no longer strangers to e-learning, that may not be correct. A lot of people...
No, what I'm saying, sir,
yeah.
What I'm saying, because I actually approached some teachers. Now, let me not mention the name of the schools.
Yeah.
And they said they don't know how to use it. Some people came to me, and I told them, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And many of them go ahead, also teaching others.
Yeah, but that is not enough for you to say that majority.
Okay, now, some. Let me use the word some.
Yeah.
Okay, now, so we can go on in this e-learning. But my point still remains, let us capture all.
Let's capture the vulnerable.
Yes, let's capture all. Because if we do not, that vulnerable child you left behind can become the governor. 30, 50.
What do you recommend? What do you recommend for the least vulnerable in terms of distance learning now?
The least vulnerable.
Yes.
That is where we need to put our heads together.
I said it a while ago,
yes,
that we need to
put our heads together.
Put our heads together.
Yeah.
Everyone's enough of them. Putting your heads together is just it's sematical. Now, we're used to such languages. They're almost semi-political these days. The question is, what is your recommendation for the least vulnerable?
Now,
about the least vulnerable.
The truth is, I'm not able to give you the answer as
the reality
present
of the casualties in war. In this situation, I want to know
the provision for the least vulnerable. And then within my camp, yes, I also want to know how to carry them along. So I want to hear from you.
This
is not between both of you.
Yes. If he's asking such question, I think I want to tell you, in the midst of this, like somebody actually came to me, was giving me some ideas, but to some point I was asking, are you sure it's going to work? He said, if we can have our sanitizers at the entrance, each classrooms, if a child can be asked to sit one in a chair, if the population is too much, let us call for afternoon schools like in the olden days. You see, they have, you know,
that may have its own disadvantages. Anyway, let's see more SMS. We have more SMS coming in now. We have good morning. My name is Mrs. Blessing. And my point is that 60% of the citizens are vulnerable. For those parents that don't have the gadgets, how will their children be involved in e-learning program? That's, you know, the position there. And we also have this one that reads that, let's see now. It says that, okay, my name is Amaka. I really appreciate efforts. I just pray that the COVID-19 should be over so that I can learn and prepare for my WAEC examination. I am a science student. I need a teacher to assist me in some subject like physics, chemistry, and please, I want school to resume so that I can learn. God bless you. Well, thank you for your opinion there. Well, we have this one now that says that proponents of e-learning do you have stable energy in Edo State? Is Edo State technology developed enough? Who buys the laptop? Government or parents? Ernest I told me, that's the name there. And of course, we have this other one that reads that government should forget e-learning. No one is really going to learn adequately from e-learning. The truth is always bitter. It is a complete shame to Nigeria leaders from Roy. Well, Roy, thank you so much for your opinion there. That is your own opinion. And of course, we have this one also that read that, let's see now. It reads, my name is Tina from Benin City, a student of DETSU. I receive a message from DETSU urging us to receive lectures through WhatsApp, which has been going on for 3 weeks now. Although I have not been attending classes because I have no Android phone and I have been lacking behind. That is one of the disadvantages of e-learning. We have emphasized that a while ago. We've said that a while ago. Now, gentlemen, in the light of this, I think we should also begin to look at the possibility of government trying to subsidize some of these gadgets. A certain state in America, now we understand that prior to this time, of course, some have said that those are, places where governments are proactive. Now, a certain state in America had to, pay a certain percentage of these gadgets, to make it affordable by parents. And that's probably why you have almost all students, almost children of learning age in America, almost all of them, they have access to internet, to gadget, to facilities and all that. So back here in Nigeria, can we begin to suggest that government should begin to perhaps subsidize some of these items for our children?
Mr. Evans, just recently, a sum of $311 million was recovered from the Abacha loot. Converted to Naira, it was a whopping 126 billion. I think this question should be directed to those who are in the helm of affairs. The truth of the matter is that with this reality, government should not subsidize. People are not working, they don't have anything. Government should buy it for them. And then again, as you buy it for them, then you can work on subsidizing the cost of
gadgets,
of internet bundles. For the gadget, because in a street sense, we can more than afford these things. The learning class in Nigeria, not talking about the uneducated class now, not talking about those already professionals and working class men and women, those who are in school. What is the population of those who are learning in school today, private and public, that Nigeria cannot take care of when it comes to this? It's just like Mr. Roy said when he sent in the SMS. It's a big shame on this country. And the COVID-19 just now is a revelation of who we are truly.
Okay.
So on this, those who are vulnerable, I will tell you, as far as the Nigeria that I know, that will not change just now, they will remain vulnerable. Because plans have never been on gear to even accommodate those you now term non-vulnerable. Those who you term non-vulnerable now are only so because they worked for themselves. They are not as economically disadvantaged like those you call non-vulnerable. Let the government take responsibility for all. Lest one of these days you remind me what I'm going to tell you now. They would forcefully reopen schools when it's getting out of hand, and things not getting better.
What will get out of hands now that they forcefully open schools?
When, for example, by the end of this year, this COVID thing is still everywhere. By mid next year, this COVID thing is still everywhere. I'm postulating, I'm not saying it's going to be. I don't have the authority to say it's going to be. But if I follow Dr. Fauci on one of the NCDC boss in America, what he keeps saying is that this thing will remain for a very long time. Now, if that becomes the case with us, let's be realistic.
So you think government will be forced to open schools?
If this thing stays for a year plus, they may believe that the best thing to have done, those that are reopening the economy, what are they doing? They're investing hugely on testing and isolation.
Okay. Now, let me get your own opinion on, subsidizing gadgets.
Yes, thank you very much.
Internet bundles for parents.
Yes, I think that is where government need to be more actively involved. Like he said, the data, which are the bundles now, can be reduced. Coming to the handset, or the gadgets now, do you really think that our government now have the resources, like he just said that the allocation now has been, dropped a bit? Do you really think, and if, can they cover all both the private and the government schools? Questions are coming. Now, I think that goes to what he just agreed, the point at which he agreed to me, that some of the majors reopening schools, maybe morning, afternoon shift, what is it called, sanitizers, one in a seat, can come in place. I think I was on DW yesterday. I think one of the points, they were saying that to some point that is going to take up to a year and 6 months.
Just like what he said.
Okay.
He also did that postulation.
Are you getting it?
But we don't pray for that.
Yes, we are not praying for that.
Yeah.
Then, to some point, sir, are we going to be online, following this e-learning? Or are we going to put in some measures like the churches now? I think you see some 2020, they try to maintain the social distance and stuff. I think these are some of the issues.
It may yet come to that. It may yet come to that.
Then if it's going to come to that, why don't we take the bull by the horn now?
We don't pray for that. We don't pray for that situation. Let's see more SMS. I just like reading the SMS so that we carry our viewers along, and so that they can also have a sense of belonging, on this program today. Well, I have this one now that says that let's see now. I think they should share the classes. They should share the classes. Some should go to school Monday and Tuesday, some Wednesday and Thursday, because learning at home will be difficult. And for SMS, and for some, the most of them don't even have Android phones, and most of them won't even take the learning seriously. Well, that's your position there. Yeah. Now, I have this one that reads that, let's see now, it reads that this system, though look good, cannot work in our situation, obviously in our country now. I know a teacher in one primary school, out of 45 pupils, only 6 WhatsApp, and out of the 6, only 2 parents responded. One logged himself to another teacher. Okay, one logged himself to another teacher and reported that the parents should, and the parents said they cannot afford MB. Now, just like what we said, parents are also in the forefront in all of this.
Sure.
Because the parents themselves, at times, some parents may not be enlightened enough.
Yes.
To even know the importance of e-learning.
Yes.
To even appreciate the global trend. And look, it is e-learning. It's like my job. without internet, you can't do this job because you need to update yourself. You need to know what is going on.
Yeah.
So the parents themselves, they also need to be educated in this light. Okungbowa.
Well, it's a systemic failure.
Yeah.
It's something that stemmed from time to now. We've not concertatively built a system that we can rely on today. This challenge will be there today, tomorrow, and perhaps forever if we do not take decisive actions and measures. For parents, the basic instinct in every parent is for their children to do better than they do. So they'll naturally go the lengths to make sure their children are part of the process when their mates are already on board it, for them not to seem as though they are being left behind. But this does not take away the reality here just now that many of them don't even have the know-how. Two, that many of them can't even afford and stay on the internet class, considering the fact that it's bundle related and this costs money. We're going back to what has been brought up before. At this point in time, what is the primary responsibility of government? Educating the citizens of a country is not necessarily for the good of that citizen. It's for societal advancement and growth. No society will develop without quality education. Else, you keep relying on borrowed technology and borrowed ideas. If society must develop, we have to consciously teach our people to be future leaders.
Okay.
That is where government has to play a role. Deploy resources. I did mention just now the 126 billion that is for us now. We should tell Donald Trump, since he's giving conditions to release this money to us, we should tell him to invest it on ICT, give us laptops to give to our learning schools for free.
All right, thank you. Now, as we wrap up now, I'd just like you guys to share one minute as we wrap up. So you are saying that e-learning is good, but the vulnerable has to be carried along. They have to be carried along. That's your position.
Yes, sir. And also, from the little point we are receiving from those in the X sector, why don't we put in some of the majors now, like someone was, in addition to my point, if they can share the classes or morning, afternoon shift, or using sanitizers,
Okay.
a child,
the way churches are going now.
2020.
Okay. All right, that was a suggestion.
Yes.
Okungbowa.
And also, sir, before I think it will also be a point for the stakeholders now to ask some of these teachers that are into this Edo best at home. How far are they going?
All right, thank you. Now, Okungbowa, you are saying that e-learning is good, that nobody is vulnerable. Is that your position? Again, quickly.
Of course, they are vulnerable. Okay. What I'm saying, dear parents at home, I empathize with you in moments like this, in times like this. I have kids too, and it hurts me so to see them every day not learning when their mates are learning via the internet abroad. And what I'm saying to you is, I know you will do everything possible to make sure your children are carried along. Okay. You do your best. The simplest form of e-learning might be WhatsApp. Get on board it and let your children be carried along.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate you, parents.
Thank you so much. And to our mothers out there, a very big thank you. Our wives out there. I don't know, from my experience, personal experience, our spouses, have been trying. Most times, husbands, men are not at home. The wives take over, ensuring that assignments are done. Assignments that schools have been posting on platforms are done by the children. A very big thank you to our wives. I should really praise them, for effort so far. Well, let's take a short pause now so that we'll take other segments on this program this morning on ITV. Please stay tuned.